Hello, everybody. It's Derek again. And today we're launching our Dropshipping Simplified Steps for Success series. Now, people always ask, what is dropshipping? I've not heard of this before. Tell me more, and I'm going to do that. So, dropshipping is pretty much e-commerce for the everyday person. Um, not everybody has the means to deploy an entire business. So what dropshipping is you work with some suppliers, you set up a platform that you sell your products on, people buy the products, and the supplier ships that product directly to your customer, which means you don't have to touch that product at all, physically at least. Um, and that's great. Now, some people are like, that's too good to be true, right? Well, it's not a get rich quick scheme. I mean, that is the catch. It's just like any business. You have to put in the work to make it happen. You're not going to be making $5,000 a week in 2 weeks. That's not realistic. And one thing to consider here when you're doing this is, businesses take time and there will be failures, but there is no success without having failures. That's how you learn and get better. So don't be discouraged. It's part of the process. Um, Now, how does it benefit you? Well, there are a lot of ways this benefits you. One, you don't have to pay for a warehouse or take an extra bedroom of yours and stack it full of products, keeping it organized, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that costs money, it costs time, and then you have to hire employees to help manage the warehouse and to help with the shipping and organization, right? So now that's double the cost right there. And then an aspect of drop shipping is you get to be your own boss. You get to set your hours. You get to decide when and where you work. That's huge. Right now, I'm working in my home office. During this pandemic, that's huge for me. With my family and I, it keeps us safe. If we need to go and help other family members, I can still work. I could go across the country and still work wherever I'm at as long as I have an internet connection. And that makes it a very nimble business model. And what that means is that you don't have money invested in property or items that you are not able to offload quickly. Um, so you'll have a lot more liquid assets like cash to help you when you need to make a change. So the long-term investment value is not nearly as high as if you were to have your own warehouse and the employees and et cetera that we were talking about earlier. However, there are challenges, just like anything worthwhile doing. And the first and biggest challenge for most people is time management. As we mentioned earlier, you are your own boss. You set your hours, you set the times that you want to work, and you are able to set how you work. That it's all about how you want to do it. And to be successful when you're your own boss, you have to really put a lot of time into something. However, there's a work-life balance that needs to be observed, and it's extremely important so that you don't fry out and so you don't ignore your families if that's something you have in your life. Whatever the case that your life has, it's huge to make sure that when you schedule time that you're doing the work you need to during that scheduled time, whether it's part-time and 2 to 4 hours a week or full-time and you're working all day. Make sure that you're using that time efficiently, and that's something that only you can do since you are your own boss. Advertising. Look, people have to know about your platform, and the only way that happens is by advertising. We're not going to go in depth in this video on that. That's a much more advanced topic that can be discussed later on. But it's something to consider. You have to really do some research on how, who, and where you advertise. So that is something that you will have to do since this is your own business. Um, Supplier management is huge. It's not like you can just go out there, find a few suppliers, and be done with it. You have to make sure you have quality suppliers. You have to make sure that your suppliers are have quality products, and don't take forever to process your order and ship it. You have to make sure that they're responsive, and that they're not a scam. You do come across these things, and that's a huge challenge. And we'll talk a little bit more about all that in depth as well later. Payment processing, that look, that costs money. Every time a payment is processed electronically, there is a fee to the person who's processing it, by the vendors, Visa, American Express, etc., the banks. There's always a fee applied to that, even the little square things. And also the difference there is, this is going to be online, and it has to be secure. You've seen the news these days. You don't want to have your name in the news because you decided not to use a secure method of payment. Shipping costs. With drop shipping, a lot of the times the suppliers will charge you for the drop shipping cost. You will end up paying for that, and it comes out of your profits there. So you have to consider that you might not be the one actually physically taking the package down to your shipping vendor of choice, but you are going to pay for it. And they're setting the rates. So you have to keep that in mind. And a huge problem with this for somebody is handling returns. Look, when people return things for so many different reasons, right? I mean, we've all ordered something online and then said, oh, this wasn't what I thought it was, or it doesn't fit, or this is not going to work for me after all. Whatever the reason is, once that item is returned to you, it's been in someone's home, in someone's hands. The product is no longer new. Some suppliers will not accept them, and you can't just resell it as if it's new. It's false advertising, and a lot of problems come along with that. So you need to be set up to handle returns. Now, Shop One definitely helps with some of these things, and I'm going to go over that in detail in our next video. I'm very excited to see you there. So see you at the next video, and have a wonderful day.